Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. I am Tegan Bartos, founder of Jolt Your Career. And today I am bringing some of my girlfriends on live on this lovely Saturday morning, taking time away from their family and their things to do because we want to offer insights from our job search. Because with all of these layoffs and everything else that has been going on, we see the stress, we see the frustrations, and we want to come to you with actionable solutions. So let me go ahead and pop everybody on. Hopefully we're actually live and this is working. Bam, and here we are. All right. I gotta figure out whatever just happened with that video. Oh, you know what? I played the exit video instead of the entrance. So that's okay. I'll eventually get it right. That's what I get. Y'all want to see it? Here. Dan's in it. Okay, that was part of it, but isn't that neat? My VA, her name is Mimi. Anybody out there who needs graphics, video work done, customized banners and things like that, she is so incredible. She made this overlay. Anybody who needs help with the creative aspects of your job search or professional branding, I highly recommend Mimi. Just add a comment that you want her information and I will forward that along to you. For everybody who's tuning in, go ahead and drop where you're tuning in from in the comments. Say hello. If you have any questions about your job search, feel free to add them so we can get to them. Let me pull it up on my phone right now so I can multitask and seeing everybody's comments. Oh, and I guess I could just put the chat. All right, cool. So we've got a couple of secret LinkedIn users. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a secret LinkedIn user because so often people are like, oh, I noticed that you viewed my profile. Do you have a job for me? No, I accidentally clicked on it. And then I feel terrible for getting somebody's hopes up. But let's go ahead and say hello to Stacy, Anna, and Shannon. She says good morning. For everybody, it might be good evening for some people. Dean's tuning in from Texas. Dan is here talking smack. But today, we are going to keep it PG because we all have little ones in the house. This is a family-friendly show. All right, so ladies, let's go ahead and just dive into the conversation. We are here to talk about lessons from our job search. The number one thing that I can share is the job search sucks. Doesn't matter which way you look at it. They're not fun. Nobody ever wants to be on a job search. And so why don't we just kind of go around and share some thoughts about what we've done. So let's kick it off with, how did you know, or what made you start your job search? And Amanda, do you want to kick this one off? It looks like you're in the hot seat.
I have a tendency to be that way because last names or first names. So I am a former special education teacher, and I'm shifting into customer success. And my my job search started after I started my own work within burnout. So I still do that, and realizing that I'd like to be able to support better and more efficiently without having to have to charge what I would need to keep the lights on per se. So, and I also realized I'm not good at marketing myself. But stepping into a corporate space, utilizing the skills that I have within the coaching space, within my education background, and moving into customer success in some range, is where I am, where it's taken me and where it's leading me down this job search.
I think that we all, and everyone in the comments right now, we all have something that drove us to start our job search. For me, it was getting hit by a semi truck. It was realizing, okay, life is too short to be this far away from family or to deprioritize other things that are important in my personal life over climbing this corporate career ladder. And so once we all decided it's time, whether we were laid off, whether our little ones grew up, whether we were prioritizing our mental health, whatever that may have been, then we have to figure out, how the heck do we find a job? Because the job search is constantly changing. I mean, even LinkedIn. They just did rollouts last month where all of a sudden you have to pair your skills with your experience, your education section, where now you can hyperlink your links. I mean, technology constantly changes things. I mean, COVID alone, think about all the virtual job fairs. Most of us had never even thought about going to a job fair since we were exiting college, because you just think, oh, job fair, that's for kids. No, now some of the top companies have executive job fairs and networking events. So times have changed. So based on what you know now from navigating the job search, kind of what is your best tip for getting started? And who wants to tackle this question? Maybe Anna?
I'll tackle this one.
Yeah.
I would say my number one tip for beginning a job search is know thyself, and spend some time really digging into what you liked about your current job, what you didn't like. No job is perfect. It's more a matter of focusing your search on career options and opportunities where the benefits outweigh the detriments, right? And so going into it sort of clear-eyed and really knowing what you need and what you want and what you're interested in and what your strengths are. Be very selfish, right? Be very selfish and take some time and really dig into what you want, and then do your research. And it took me a while to figure this out. I was a secondary school music teacher, so I taught band, orchestra, and choir for 10 years, and then I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. And I knew that I wasn't going to go back into the classroom, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I realized that all the things I loved about my classroom experience were things that would transfer very nicely into project management. And so that's where I am now. But project management is a huge field. And so it took a while to really, really dig down into what avenue I wanted to go into and what area I wanted to go into. So I think spend some time on yourself and figure out what you need and what you want, and then go forward with a plan.
I think we can all relate to that. For those of you tuning in, go ahead and some type of reaction, a thumbs up, a heart, a laughing emoji, whatever you want. If you've been there, if you've gotten on your job search and maybe what you used to do isn't what you want to do now, maybe your skills are outdated, maybe you're relocating because of whatever reason, whatever it may be, and it can be overwhelming. And I love that advice to start off with yourself and be selfish, because let's face it, if we get into a job we don't like, we're going to be right back on the job search again. We really need to understand what our values are, because our personal values don't leave when we get to work. If I'm not going to compromise my integrity in my personal life, I'm not going to do it in my professional life. You just can't turn those deeply rooted things off. And then even if it's not even as significant as something like a value, just a personal preference. I love socializing. I love being in real life with people. But the reality is, my home life, it's not going to allow me for extensive commutes. When you guys know this, I also work with corporate clients. And I was working on a project in the city, and I had to leave before my son woke up. And I didn't get home until he went to bed. And then I still had more work to do. I mean, the contract was worth it for it being short term, but for long term, that's not the type of life I want to live. And so those are all great things to think about beforehand, because what happens is, as job seekers, we hear a lot of noise. We see all of these positions posted, but the reality is, if they don't meet our salary requirements, if the location isn't right, if the scope of work isn't right, then it's not for us. We need to take all of those options off the table and just super hone in, like Anna was saying, on what is right. Because to her point, project management, for example, it's a big industry. So identifying those particular niches within project management, or whatever is true for you, that can help bring you that. Then once you have that internal clarity, that can bring you then that external clarity on where you want to focus your time. And so let me look at my question sheet here. What do I have next? Here's a question, and we can decide who wants to tackle it. We go along our job search and we find out so much about ourselves. Anna's already hinted at this. And it can be painful. We can lose ourselves when dealing with rejection, because rejection hurts really freaking badly. So how do you pull yourself out after being rejected? Or maybe you haven't even been rejected yet. Maybe we self-reject ourselves by not applying online, by micromanaging all of the foundational things beforehand, like changing our headline of our LinkedIn profile a billion times before you're even willing to let it go live. All these little things. I'm not a man, so I can't speak from a man's perspective. But as a woman, my experience is I want to project perfection before anyone sees something. It has taken a lot of self-work to come on a live with my hair in a bun. It's not like you guys know my hair's not freshly washed. You might just think I was really trying to style it in a bun. But these are things that eat at us and prevent us from taking action and making progress in our job search. And so something that we've gotten a lot of questions on and preparing to have this conversation today, and something that we've all experienced as well, is how to navigate negativity in our job search and turn it into owning our confidence, owning our value, remembering how incredible we are so we can land that job. And I know just the person, because she recently landed a job. And I know I said I was going to keep it PG. So for anybody who's got kids nearby, let's go ahead and mute really quickly, because I'm about to go PG-13. We've got Eileen here, who is an absolute badass. And okay, now we're back to PG-13. So go ahead and share your story and what type of advice you have for job seekers.
Well, I have a 14-year career gap, and it took me a while to find my way through the process. So much had changed over the years, and I did take out a few jobs, but they were just jobs. My focus wasn't a career. And during my time away, I raised my daughter. I took courses, I volunteered, in addition to working for a part-time for a former professor, as well as I took a contract role. But as my daughter was preparing to leave for college, I knew the time was finally right for me. Over the years, I wanted to jump back into my career, but things would keep happening that kind of drew me back into tending to my daughter's needs. And then I just realized that she needed me more than I needed my career. And when I was finally ready, I knew I needed to change the way I job searched. So a former colleague of mine, she suggested I get more active on LinkedIn. I found a lot of resources. I tried anything and everything. I started in January. I had 60 connections. Now I have almost 1,000. I don't work at it as hard as I probably should, but there's a lot of free resources, a lot of amazing communities. And one of them is how I met all of you, is through Job Connection Collective Tuesday, or Job Connection Tuesday Collective. And I found myself in the weeds. Like Tegan said, I worked on my resume day in and day out. I hired a resume writer and that didn't work. I worked on my LinkedIn profile. It's still not perfect. I'm still working on that. But the collective really is what helped me kind of find my inner confidence, because it turns out that was my main issue, along with clarity. And there was one day where I was in office hours and just had a complete breakdown. And everybody pulled up my profile and just started giving me support, guidance, advice. And after that hour, something just changed within me. And I realized that I could do this, and I was what my value was. And so I actually found my job through a job fair. I connected with a recruiter at my current company, and she found my background interesting. We set up a meeting, and then a month later, I had my job. I'm very happy. It checked all my priority boxes. I was looking for company culture, people, but most importantly, a place to grow my career. And the greatest piece of advice I would say is take time to reflect, use your resume to really tell your narrative, and understand that you have a lot of value and what that value is, and be able to portray that to all the companies.
Okay, hold on, guys. 1 second. Sure. And this is why I do lives on Fridays and not Saturdays, everyone. Just getting a little bit of bubble gum out of my son's hair. But this is the thing. Blessings always come at the most random times, which all of us on stage can attest to. I can now take him and go get him a haircut, because that's the only way that this bubble gum is going to get out of his hair. And this is another part of why the job search can be so hard. Because if you have a family, if you have pets, if you have adult responsibilities other than, maybe providing for elderly parents and things like that, there are other things that keep our attention away. Dan, you asked, how did it get in his hair? He put it there. Little boys do the strangest things. All right. Eileen, one person has a question, and he asked, why did the resume writer not work out? If you feel comfortable.
Oh, yes. I don't feel they understood my story. When I initially vetted them, I explained my history. I needed somebody to understand the world of finance, because it is a lot different. I think, especially on LinkedIn, you see a lot of people focusing on tech, but that wasn't the industry I was targeting. And she assured me that they had people that worked with finance professionals, and it turned out not at all. They just didn't understand my background. Basically, they oversold and underdelivered. There's a saying in sales, you want to undersell and overdeliver, and they definitely, I seriously to this day still want a refund, because my profile and my resume the way they did it does not exist anymore.
So this is a great lesson for all of us. Not all resume writers and career coaches are made the same. I am one. And almost every single client that I have worked with has been burned by someone that they've worked with in the past, or the outplacement service provider that their company severance provided them with. And so it is really important, just like when we are on our job search, to do diligence with the person that you're investing in, because that's what it comes down to. What is your ROI going to be? If you are going to financially invest in something, you want to make sure you have that ROI. Personally, I just got done creating a website, and my website builder said, I am not a content creator. If you have help, if you need help with writing content, go to this person. So there's different people who have different expertise in different things. And sometimes it takes a village to help with that. Now, in the cases of careers and in the cases of me working on my website, it is really difficult to read the label when you're inside the jar. So I can look at any of the 4 women on this screen right now and tell them why they are absolutely amazing. Because I've chatted with them. I've heard their stories. And when they hear it back, when someone else literally takes their words and says, so tell me if I'm correct, this is what you just shared with me. And then it's like a light bulb goes off. Yeah, that's my story. And sometimes it's just a matter of moving things around in different ways so the story blends blends in a way that other people can understand. Because when we're in our own heads, everything's moving around like this. And so when you get it to be shared like this, it feels different. Your professional brand is elevated. It helps give you clarity, because a well-written resume then becomes a cheat sheet to the interview process. Everything, your key selling points, the value that you have brought to other organizations, and those either transferable skills or those direct lateral skills that are going to help you be successful in this next role in that next company, those are the things that you're going to identify in that process. So if you don't understand your story, which she shared to be true, it sometimes is really difficult for other people to get that story out of you. Asking quality questions is a very difficult skill to learn. Any of us who have ever been leaders before knows that the difference between having high performers and taking them to reach their career goals is a matter of asking good questions so you can better help guide them. The difference between retaining someone who is on a performance plan and having to let them go is the difference between, well, yes, obviously their motivation and yada, 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 but also your ability to ask good questions and see what they can't see. Because if someone can't see where we're struggling at, like, hey, I don't know what I don't know. That's why we're all here together. That's why we all bounce ideas off of each other, is to spark inspiration. And if some people are better at doing that than others. So hopefully that answered the question. A couple other questions in the comments were the group. Amanda posted it. The Job Connection Tuesday Collective is the brainchild of Dan Roth. We come together, Dan and I, every single Friday at 2:00 Central Time to host office hours. It's 100% free. This is how we met, and we came together and shared our experiences, shared where we were at, and built a community of job seekers, recruiters, coaches, hiring managers to come together to make good fits, to not only help inspire job seekers and to get them to where they want to be in their career, but then those job seekers to come back and pay it forward to other job seekers, and for hiring managers to become better hiring managers because they get to listen and gain insights as to the candidate experience that we're all craving so much. We know the process is broken, but what can we do to fix it? And that's why we all come together as a collective to talk about these things, to share these things, to get vulnerable with each other so we can continue to move forward with actionable, progressive, and positive insights. So I'm going to bring the next person up to chat while I go through all the questions. So my next question, oh, this is a good one. I'm so excited for this because we are all here because we want a job offer. And some of us get multiple job offers, and that is an incredible feeling to have when you're on the outside looking in. But then when it happens to you, it sucks because here's the thing. Good people know good people. And if you're here today, I know you're a good one. And we value our relationships. And when we have to turn an employer down who's so excited to bring us on board, it hurts. And we don't want to break that bridge. We want to be thoughtful about how we move forward. And there's so many different priorities to juggle. And so, Baldwinder, I'm so excited that you are open to sharing your experience because I know how incredible of a human being you are personally, but how amazing you are and talented you are in your field as well. And so when you have a skill set that is in such high demand, multiple offers are inevitable. They are going to happen. At the end of the day, as a recruiter, I understand it. I get it. You have to do what's best for you. But how did you decide what is best for you? And how do you encourage other people to figure out what's best for them?
Tegan, I'll start with a little bit of background about me. Just like Eileen, I took a break to raise my boys. And it was a conscious decision I had to make because they needed me more than I needed to be where I needed to be. And I did try coming back in between maybe a week, 2 weeks, and it wasn't working out, is where it was good 8+ years. And when I tried to get back, and technology changes constantly. I mean, 8 years is a long, long time. And when I wanted to come back, that was back in 2020, I was getting ready. I did take some certifications. I knew that I was going to get back to the data center world. That's where I was earlier, and on premises, and COVID happened. So there was no way I was getting back. So I picked up a position with Amazon because Amazon did mass hiring, totally unrelated, but it did use my transferable skills. I did help them with their shipping and delivery, coordinating, escalating, and the whole 9 yards. And that's where I knew, and that's where all this clarity, conversation, and knowing where you want to be and knowing that this is my end goal is when I started looking into cloud computing. And I started looking around on my own, came across a certification challenge, did my very first cloud practitioner exam. Within 15 days, I was done. And I knew from there itself that this is where I wanted to be. Number one, this was a skill in demand. Number two, that's where I could grow and bridge the gap per se, because that's where there was relatively, I won't say a relatively less competition, but it was relatively new. I would be on the same scale as the rest of them because everybody's trying to learn the same thing. It's relatively new. But at the same time, I had struggles wherein I was constantly justifying the gap I had. And it wasn't until I joined the collective, and nobody told me to talk about collective, and came across all of you guys, is when I got confident about what I had to offer, and I was landing interviews by then, but yet I was not landing the offers, regardless of the certifications I had, regardless of the work I'd put in. And Dan, I'm gonna quote you here. He is one of the first people who said, "You taking a gap is nobody's business," right? So any interview I went to was like, okay, I don't have to, because it's okay. I have to talk about what I have to bring to the table. And going back to your question, I landed 2 great offers on the same day. And I was like, oh my God, it's a great problem to have, but it's not a problem that I was ready for. And I'm so thankful. And you did say it takes a village to land a role. And I'm so thankful for the village I'm surrounded with, because not only it was the recruiters, it was the coaches, it was, them knowing me. Or Tracy was one of those who gave me the pep talk. 30 minutes is all I needed to get into these 2 different loops and just land the roles where I landed. It wasn't that I lacked the technical skills. It was that confidence in myself, I would say, too, to go out there and say, and be relaxed. These are little things. When we go into interviews, as cliche as it might sound, we have to be ourselves, and we have to be relaxed. And that was one thing I just could not do prior to that. So even though I might have reached the loops, I didn't land the offers. And okay, so to answer, how did I decide which company did I want to go with? Both of them are excellent companies in terms of where I could grow. But where I could make the decision was the company culture, the work-life balance, the support I would go in. They already know that I have a certain set of certifications and I don't have what they're working with, and yet they're willing to support me. And they're like, you have that attitude wherein you'd be able to do it. We're here to support you. We have all the setup and everything to help you get there. And I couldn't be happier. It could not be any better. And I will be announcing that on Monday. And it was equally
Can we
tearing.
get a round of applause because she just had something exclusive slip. She is starting a new job. It is being announced Monday, but she just shared it all with you. That is the power of community, my friend. So I want to see those claps for her landing this job and being so freaking vulnerable with each of you right now, because I know every single one of us feels what she is saying because we felt it in some type of way before.
Thank you. And thank you for being there, Tegan, and the rest of the clan, for that matter. I could not have done this without this collective. Even if that means that on my lowest of the days, I call Eileen and I'm like, do you have a minute? and and I have a very supportive family. I could not ask for more, but sometimes these feelings, you could talk to somebody who's gone through the same journey, and be vulnerable with, because they'll understand. And her solution to that was, oh no, we don't cry. This is the virtual job fair that I know about. I don't need it. She had already landed a job, and you're going to attend this. There's the link. And I did land an interview with that, not one of these, but the other one, and went through the process. But that was enough to kind of bring me back to where I needed to be. So that would be one of the things I would say. I would highly recommend surround yourself with supportive people. Surround yourself with people who understand you, who encourage you, and who can lift you up when you're down. And that's huge.
It is huge because we all need that. You do not have to job search alone. You don't have to navigate this roller coaster of emotions that's natural for everyone to feel when they're on their job search, when they're stressed about things that are going on in their personal life, when they are trying to figure out, some of us have support systems and some of us don't. The financial weight alone, it's challenging. And so on those days when you can reach out to that family member, when you can reach out to that other job seeker who's experienced that and say, hey, do you just have a minute? I just need you to listen. And when you know yourself well enough just to know what you need, or hey, I need some of that tough love, mama bear, that you're going to give it to me straight. Having the courage to pick up that phone and to do that, it's powerful. And so when I wrote this post and I said, 1 is the loneliest number on the job search, it's true. We've all just spoke to it. It's so powerful when you can come together with a group. That may be the free group, like the Job Connection Tuesday Collective that we're all associated with, or it may be a paid for group that you're involved in where you're like Anna Morgan, for example. She's in the comments right now. She has a coaching program that you can pay to be a part of. There's Amanda.
Anna is amazing, by the way.
Yeah, Anna is amazing. She's absolutely fantastic. There's so many different people, free or paid for, that you can rely on to help give you quality guidance. And so I see we're over our time, and my son is screaming at the top of his lungs. So hold on just 1 second. I mean, I still to this day don't know how parents made it through COVID, because this is nuts. But lastly, I want to end on a personal experience of mine, and then we'll go around round table, answer a couple questions in the comments, and then talk about what our best job search advice is to job seekers, to be respectful of your all time. But what happens when you take a job that you realize that you don't like anymore? So many of us take jobs to put food on our table. That's fine. No recruiter is going to judge that for you. You have a layoff and they ask you, what are you doing right now? I'm working as a cashier at Kohl's because I need to put food on the table while I look for my data analytics role, my long-term goal. They're not going to beat an eye at that. And if they are, they're probably not the right company for you, because you want some humanity in the company that you work for. If you're associated with me or any of the ladies up here, is my guess. But here's what happened to me. I had been in workforce development for my entire career. I didn't know anything different. And we probably all know this already, but the government doesn't pay very much. And I left to become a recruiter. I joined in a cohort with 21 other people being a recruiter. I was the top of those people in placements and fills. And my manager was already training me, having client facing, to start doing business development, where you can make really good money when it comes to recruitment. And I realized, but what about all the job seekers who are great talent, who should be getting jobs, but on paper, off that quick little 7-second glance, they don't look good enough to the hiring team for them to acknowledge. And these are fantastic people because I talked to them, but I could not get my clients to talk to them because on paper, they didn't look like what that hiring manager was wanting to do. And I had a job to do. I couldn't just rewrite everybody's resumes out of the kindness of my heart. I had things to do. And so I opened up my own business, and leaving a job after being there for 6 months, having great success, I was thinking all of these thoughts on, I've never quit a job this soon. I felt like I was betraying my manager, betraying my team. I felt so many different emotions, but at the end of the day, I had to stay true to me and stay true to my mental health. And so with that, I made a really scary career pivot. So if you're in the position where you're working a job just for the dollar amount, or just, to collect a paycheck to have food on your table, take that next role. I know things are different, laws are different in different parts of the world in terms of resigning and things like that. But if you're in the States, especially if you're in a right to work state, do your best to give the notice that you should to maintain those relationships. But keep looking for that job that you truly want, because it is out there. And with the right help, you can get there. You do not have to settle in your career.
Mama,
you can eat all the candy if you stop screaming. Okay, deal. All right. So we've got a couple of questions that I wanted to touch on in the comments before we go round table. Ladies, if any of you need to jump off because I know we're over the 30 minutes, don't worry about it. One of the questions was, you only have unders on, don't come in the show. Do not come around this table in your unders. Okay, so one of the questions was, and somebody go ahead and shout it out if you saw it. It was something about the green banner. Here's the thing. Not all companies give their recruiters access to LinkedIn Recruiter. You can only show that you are open to work if they have access to LinkedIn Recruiter, if you choose recruiter only. It's not just based on the job title that they have on their profile. So if you're targeting startups, smaller companies, mid-sized companies who may not have access to LinkedIn Recruiter, then it's advantageous of you to put that green banner up there. And if you're like, no, I don't like it, well, then don't put it up. If you have an optimized profile, if your keywords are there, if your headline is juicy enough to make me want to click and find out more, recruiters will find you and they will reach out to you, whether that green banner is up or not. And then I feel like there was one more question about the ATS. For those of you who have questions on the ATS, me and one of the managing editors for LinkedIn, Andrew Seaman, just did a LinkedIn Live last week. It's in the featured section, and we got deep into the ATS, how to work with recruiters, salary negotiation. So definitely go ahead and watch that LinkedIn Live on replay if you've got extensive questions about that. If anybody else has any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat, because there's so many at this point that I'm having trouble finding all of them. Dustin, eat anything. Just let me go. That's the thing about my audience, is family is incredibly important to me. It is one of my values. And so if you're not about family and about balance and about humanness, then I'm probably not the right person for you, and that's okay. And that's something that in our job search, we have to get comfortable with. Somebody had it in the comments that try not to take rejection personally. That's just right. Because at the end of the day, if you don't like me, chances are I'm not going to want to be with you either, because your vibe attracts your tribe. So thank you for reposting that. Let's see. Here's the question that I missed. Do you think it looks bad to put an open to work banner on your profile if you're still employed but actively looking for a new position? If you are on a secret job search, do not put that up, because your company will see it. But if you're like, hey, it is what it is, I'm looking for a new job, then yeah, go ahead and put it, because if you feel comfortable, if you want to put it, go ahead and put it. Because here's the thing. Sometimes we take jobs to get a paycheck, because we all have bills. We all need food. The reality is we can't live without working. And so if that's the case, yes, go ahead and make it clear that you are open to work. Anna says, I pulled a bold question out of the air when I was interviewing for a senior recruiter role back in 2019. I had earned the right and build rapport to go this bold, but I said, what are we forgetting to talk about, or that you might want to share, or that you might want to share that after 90 days would cause me to give you the side eye and say, wait, why didn't you tell me that? That is a bold question, Anna, and it is bold. And asking good questions helps us see those red flags, helps us give us those transparency. So even though as job seekers, we don't like those 7-8 rounds of interviews, get really good at finding questions. If there's something in your gut that's telling you, hey, here's a red flag, ask about it. Ask about it, because you'll regret it if you don't. There's always tact. It's not always what you say, it's how you say it. And what Anna's question is fair. What are we forgetting to talk about? Or after the 90 days, well, what would give me the side eye and think, why didn't you tell me about that? That's fair. That is fair to ask, because you want to be prepared. And then here's another question. What are the top pieces of advice you'd give someone looking to transition into a field they may not have direct work experience? We're going to get on it. And that is exactly where we're at now. So why don't we go round robin, and as we close this out, to be respectful of everyone's time, what is your best overall advice for job seekers? Especially, somebody just popped up a question that says, can you please answer my question above? There are so many comments at this point that I can't see them all, because my screen looks totally different than your screen. So if you please repost the question so it comes up so I can see it right now. Otherwise, I'll go back through all of the questions after this live and answer everybody within the comments or the DMs, depending on how personal it is. But why don't we go round robin and say what your best advice for job seekers is? I'm going to kick it off, and then whoever wants to go next is welcome to jump on. My number one advice for a job seeker is do not go at your job search alone. Find a support system via LinkedIn, your community center, a religious organization, an industry affiliation, your alumni association, whatever it is. Do not go at your job search alone, because when you have a support system in your job search, it transforms not only how quickly you land a job and how much they offer you in salary. It transforms you, your vision of yourself, how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself, and how you feel about those that are around you. And so, okay, so on my screen, Anna's next. Anna, did you want to come on up, and then you can pick the next person to join? Oh, Baldwin, you're here, so you could go first. Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you for pointing that out. My biggest piece of advice is know yourself, know what you worked with, the transferable skills you bring, not only just the concrete stuff, but anything in between. Research the companies and research to see where they are a fit with your values, with what's important to you, with what the culture is, and where it aligns with your own values, so that once you land the job, hopefully you're there for a long run. And be kind to yourself. Sometimes we're like, when we are in that cycle, we feel maybe we're doing something wrong, maybe we're not enough, and everything in between. Be kind. Because a lot of times we're kinder to others, but we're not kind to ourselves, and we can second guess, question, and give yourself credit for the amount of efforts you're putting in to get where you need to be. And that's what I would say.
Love it. Anna, how about you?
The only way out is through. And setbacks are inevitable in your job search, but they only become permanent if you let them become permanent. And so you just have to keep moving forward. As long as you're moving, you're doing okay. And the job search process, especially for people who are switching careers like I did, it's like assembling the puzzle pieces before you put the puzzle together. You're going to talk to a lot of different people. You're going to get a lot of different information, and you alone know what is going to be valuable or not. But if you keep connecting with people and you keep showing up, my high school students always used to ask me, what's the secret to college? And I was like, you got to show up. And they said, what? Like, that's all you got to do is just show up? I was like, well, you have to do the work too. But a huge portion of being successful in college is just showing up. And they're like, well, that's easy. Like, just wait till you get there. Right. And so, I think if I had advice to give to job seekers, it's just keep moving forward, keep acquiring information, keep meeting people, and just understand that it's a process, and the only way out is through, and just keep going. I believe in you, believe in yourself. You can do this. You can make this happen.
I love it. Eileen, you're next.
I guess the number one piece of advice I'd give is to keep an open mind. A closed mindset will hinder your progress forward. And this process, like, I grew so much. I thought I knew what I was doing back in January, and turns out not at all. And the great thing about becoming more involved with LinkedIn and just networking my way through, I've connected with some amazing people that have helped me. I did not get to where I am today all alone. Every single one of these women have added to my success of where I am today. I will say I'm exactly where I wanted to be after my search. It's okay to cry, and it's okay to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. What you do with those mistakes is on you, and learn from them, adjust, it's a growing and learning process. And try to meet as many people as you can. And if you're trying to pivot your careers, find some sort of commonality within your background. Reality is, a lot of employers are going to look for some real experience. And the key with that is being able to tell your story, whether it be through your LinkedIn profile, your resume, or, as much as I hate cover letters, like everyone else, a cover letter can really help bridge that story. And so being able to own your story, if you get feedback from other individuals, know that trust your instinct, trust your gut, you know yourself best, and just run with that. And if whatever you're doing isn't working today, try to make some adjustments, and you'll get there eventually. I did, believe me. I was in the weeds big time. And it is with these ladies and other individuals that help find my inner confidence and clarity was everything to me, and I will be forever grateful.
Oh. And last but certainly not least, Amanda, the burnout coach. I am so glad that you are going to be closing this out, because it is hard for me to think about what else to share after all of this closing advice. So there's still 64 people on this live, Amanda, that are waiting to hear what you have to say, my love.
Okay, let's hope my computer lasts as long as I need to. So everybody had such great tips. And when you're looking for community, find your community by try things. When you are looking for your community to help support you, throw things against, this is where you can throw spaghetti at the wall. Finding networking spaces that are free, finding communities that are free. Some places are going to have paid to support, but not everybody offers that. Not everybody needs that in this particular moment, and they'll be able to support through office hours, through I found a customer success networking space that meets every Thursday. Let me know, shoot me a message if you want more information on that, because I'm part of that community. And when it comes to burnout, and if you've been in it for a minute, you're going to be burnt out a little bit at some point, because you're going to constantly get rejections. You're going to not get the interviews, and it's going to start that am I good enough concept. And for me, I was a teacher, so it's like I'm just a teacher language starts throwing around in your mind. Step away from your computer. Step away from what you had been doing because it's not working, and find somebody that might be able to look at the label outside of the jar for you. Even a friend, like meeting somebody that you've connected with on LinkedIn, they're going through the same struggle. So if you're struggling to do the activity, body double. Get somebody that's doing the same thing you are, and it's like parallel play with kids. Parallel work. Not need to necessarily talk to each other, just kind of like, what do you got to get done in this hour? Let's get it done. And then if there's any type of conversation that needs to follow up at the end of it, cool. But yeah, that's it. That's what I got for you.
So many amazing tips. And ladies, I'm not going to keep you any longer. There are now 66 people watching this, and my DMs are out of control. But wait, answer my question. So, ladies, you're welcome to stay on, or you're welcome to rejoin your families in the rest of your day. I am so grateful that each of you said yes to come on today to get vulnerable, to share your stories, to help empower other people to make it to the other side of what they're experiencing. Your companies are so lucky to have you. It is not the other way around, because you are going to bring amazing value from not only a skills perspective, but from a culture perspective, because you are all gems of human beings. And so with that, I love all of you. And I'm going to answer the rest of the questions. So if anybody's in comments that has a question, I'm going to go through them now. Add them at the bottom. I'll go ahead and put it in there. And everybody else, I will see you soon. Okay, so let's see. Let me get this all pulled up. And all right. Question time. If there are job opportunities that require 2 to 3 years of experience, and what if we are fresher, should we apply? Here's the thing about job descriptions. They are a wish list. If you have the competencies to do the role. So like me, for example, I work with Level Up in Tech. It's a DevOps boot camp. They're fresh. I mean, we just had a client who was an accountant for his entire career, land a role as a DevOps engineer and not an entry-level one, making 6 figures, and they wanted 2 to 3 years of experience. But that project work that he did in his boot camp, or the capstone project that you did in school, leverage that, or leverage your transferable skills like all of these ladies said they did. Like if you remember Anna, she's coming from a music background in academia. How does that transfer over to the project management world? Well, how does it make sense in your head that you feel like you're capable of doing it? Then you craft that story, because if you're confident in your story, then that employer is going to be confident in you as well. And then we have another comment about some people are not fortunate enough to have various support systems. When it comes to LinkedIn, many people require you to pay. So how do you overcome this when you are in limited choices and resources? Girl, I get it. I am not the most affordable career coach or resume writer to work with. But what I do is I volunteer 90 minutes of my time every Friday for free with the Job Connection Tuesday Collective. So you can join office hours. And if you're thinking, hey, that time doesn't work for me, Anna Morgan, Shoot. What's Claire's last name? Somebody drop it in there. How am I having a brain fart on Claire's last name? So many of us come together as coaches to volunteer our time. We call it Ladies Night. Gentlemen, you're welcome to come. It just happens that all of the coaches are women. And we have an evening session on the third Thursday of the month to provide resources. I joined the ministry network earlier this week. 100% free to join. Check back on my post from, what was it, Wednesday or something like that. You can join. And they have weekly guest speakers in to provide quality recommendations and coaching. They have services like resume writing, LinkedIn optimization, etc. And so there's tons of opportunities out there. If you're in a position where you have limited financial resources or you have limited time resources to invest in your job search. The next question is how to connect to recruiters on LinkedIn. Many times they post that they're open to chat about roles they're hiring, but won't respond even after connecting. Great question. Recruiters are busy. And I don't want to make assumptions that sometimes recruiters say that they're open to chat just to, boost their numbers and things like that, because the recruiters that I know are genuine people. You don't get into a job that requires you to work with people nonstop if you don't actually like working with people. And so you want to have your foundations in place. You want to have that super polished LinkedIn profile. You want to have that on-demand, ready to go, polished resume that you can present to them. And you also want to be considerate about how you're crafting your message. Recruiters are busy. So money is in the follow-up. If they don't respond to you, then make a note to follow up a week later. Hey, Tegan, I can only imagine how busy you are with how rapidly your company's growing. I would still love to connect about that position that you had referenced. Do you have time, next week? I'm pretty flexible. Or make it even easier for them. Hey, Tegan, just want to let you know I applied to the position that you had posted, requisition number, yada, yada, yada. I look forward to exploring the needs of the organization further. But from what I understand, you're currently building out your automation platform in this division. I've had massive success doing that where I'm at now and would love to see if there's some synergy here. Dangle a little carrot in front of their face. Tell them, I'm good at what I do and I've done it. And I've done enough research on your company to know what you need and I can figure that out for you. So let's go. Let's have this conversation. Recruiters are busy, and they don't work for you. They work for their client. And so as you're taking into consideration reaching out to recruiters, some recruiters are really great about connecting back, but also think about who else you can talk to as outside of recruiters. People who work in the department you want to work for, hiring managers, things of that nature. So I'll keep all of that in mind. And sorry, y'all, my back is hurting, so I'm all over the place, wiggling around and stuff. Okay, so next question. It's a long one, so I'm not going to pull it up on the screen so I can see it at the same time. Thanks for sharing insight about the second 7 glance. I've been feeling that pain lately. I recently had a great interview, but the pay range was lower than initial expectations, yet I was excited about the opportunity. Does it come across as selling yourself short by accepting a lower salary if the role is something you'd be passionate about and a good fit for? That's a great question, Shannon. I started off my career not prioritizing what I made because I was living into my values and was doing well enough. And I always had a second job where I made great money and it worked. But then came a time in my life where it no longer worked. And I had to think about my finances. So I went and got a job that paid better. And so it's not always about the money. And I don't know what your unique circumstances are, but if I was in the position where I had to decide, do I accept a role that pays less than what market value is? Why is that? Why is that company not willing to pay their employees what they're worth? The value that you bring to an organization, why are they not properly compensating you for that? To me, that's a red flag. Now, we all know nonprofits pay less than corporate. And so if that's the situation, then it's just part of it. It's how they're funded. They only have limited capacities. But if it's a Fortune 500 company or a startup that just got seed capital and things like that, I'm sorry, but I really, really freaking hope that they are paying you based on the value that you bring. If that's just, DM me your situation and maybe we can chat about it a little bit more. But I hate to see companies say, oh, well, if you work from home, I'm going to pay you less. Or because I have a ping pong table, I can pay you less. No, pay people their worth. So Aaron's question is how to network when you're a newbie in the industry with very little experience. I love this question because it makes it so easy. Okay, Aaron, I'm not sure what industry you're in, but let's say you just graduated college and, got your CPA or something like that. Then reach out to finance people and say, hey, I saw that you have a really impressive career in the finance industry. I just graduated myself, and if you'd be open to it, will you share your advice for your best career advice for a new grad? Or let's say you're not a new grad. Let's say you're just pivoting industries and maybe you did a boot camp or something of that nature. Then reach out to them and say, hey, I'm thinking about making a career change. So I signed up for this program to learn a little bit more about it. I'm loving it. And I see that you have an incredible history doing this. Would you be open to sharing your best resource? Or I see you also made this transition. Would you be open to sharing this resource? So basically, I'm rambling here, but if you want a format for it, step one, do the research on the person that you're thinking about reaching out to. Leverage that research and open your message with something kind. It's Friday. Hey, Tegan, I hope that you have an incredible weekend. It's Monday. Hey, Tegan, I hope you had an incredible weekend. It's the middle of the week. Hey, Tegan, I hope your weekend is going well. So start off with kindness. And then second, start off with something personal about them. Show them you did the research. Show them that you were invested enough about them to regurgitate something personal about them so they feel that they also want to spend time with you. So I saw that you did this transition as well. You were an accountant and now you just landed a DevOps position. Congratulations. I'm thinking about making that same pivot myself. Would you be open to sharing how you did research on what boot camp to attend? Or just a simple ask at the end. So step 4 then is have a call to action, have that question. And that is going to give you so much insights, could potentially lead to referral leads, could potentially lead to, hey, let me introduce you to my hiring manager. I know we're looking to scale our team. So that is a great way when you have very little experience to reach out to people, play that newbie card. The next question is, I believe posting and commenting on your target market post makes you visible. Yes, absolutely. So when you like a post and when you comment on a post in someone's news feed, you show up twice. The poster, their post shows up once. But if you like it, it will say Tegan Bartos liked this post. And then if you comment on it, it will also say, here's Tegan Bartos's comment. So engaging with other thought leaders in your industry is a phenomenal way to get visibility on LinkedIn. If you're not at a point where you feel comfortable writing articles, which are Google SEO optimized, so if somebody is researching a certain topic, it may come up, hey, Tegan wrote this article on cover letters, click here, and it'll direct you to your LinkedIn to your LinkedIn newsletter or article. But your posting is also powerful too, because your network is notified about your posts. And I can tell you, when I first started posting on LinkedIn, crickets. Now, if I don't get 100 likes or comments, it's weird. Like, I know I really bombed that post. There was even a contract that I took where I couldn't post on LinkedIn for about a year. The contract, was it worth it in the long run? No, it's a learning lesson for me. Never give up your right to share your voice, your thoughts. Providing thoughtful comments on other thought leaders' posts. Let's say you're in HR and somebody posts a topic about HR and you thoughtfully comment a post about your perspective. Hey, Tegan, that's great insight. I really love the point that you shared about this. So stroke that person's ego a little bit, make it clear that you're acknowledging them. And then you also want to add to the conversation, because on almost all content creator posts, they have a call to action at the end of the post for you to add your insight. So then offer your insight. It's a fantastic way to gain visibility. So this question is, are there any apprenticeships or similar programs that provide knowledge alongside experience for recent graduates? Absolutely. Every major organization has these programs. Look up college recruiters, because they work with undergrads, graduate, and PhD level candidates. And there are so many internships where you work for the company, and part of the program is retention. So if my company has a program where we're getting new grads out to get that experience and exposure and doing the rounds and things like that, it's fantastic. I had a girlfriend who went back to school to get a graduate degree in HR and got her Sherman, all that kind of stuff. And she ended up going through Amazon's rotational program. And it was fantastic. It gave her insights into so many different areas of the business. So they're absolutely out there. Questions, I'm looking. I think I'm getting to them. Okay, so I think I went through all the questions. If I missed anybody, I'll look back after I'm done with my family day, because it is Saturday. And so if you worked all day and you're job searching all day, don't forget to spend some time with your family. If you don't live near family, then make sure you spend some time doing something you love. Go for a walk, take that bath, read that book, eat that cookie, whatever it may be, to help you have balance. Because if you job search all day long, you are going to get burnt out, and then you're going to need Amanda's coaching. So do things for you too, so you can have a well-balanced job search. And so for everybody else, to close out, I have some incredible lives coming up with some fantastic people. Next Friday, I am speaking with a TEDx motivational speaker on how to move through rejection. In the upcoming weeks, I'm having a conversation with an Amazon recruiter on how to not settle for less in your career. In a couple more weeks, I am chatting with a LinkedIn influencer on how to look for work when you are 50 plus, and so many other incredible topics. So be sure to check out my activity section so you can see, so you can RSVP to the lives that you think will be helpful for you. And if you need any help or support, definitely check out the Job Connection Tuesday Collective, because we are an incredible group, if I do say so myself, of recruiters, hiring managers, coaches, and job seekers who are there to support each other. And so with that, I am going to bid you a farewell. Enjoy your Saturday, everyone. Have a wonderful day.